This is Ana Hoffman with Content Boomerang, and in this PowerPoint tutorial, I'll be showing my Content Boomerang students how to create an animated slide sequence. PowerPoint transitions and animations are great. Unfortunately, they don't work in most document sharing sites you'll be uploading your slide deck to, including SlideShare. The good news is I'm going to show you a simple workaround that will make your slides appear to have every bit of the same viewer captivating powers as the actual PowerPoint animations. First, let me show you some examples of what an animated slide sequence might look like. Imagine you're flipping through a slide deck and see, and here's my favorite way to use animated slides as a closing. As a matter of fact, that's how I close every one of my slide decks. Creating an animated sequence is the simplest, yet the most powerful and effective way to emphasize your closing call to action in a slide deck. With that said, let me show you how to create an animation effect in PowerPoint. Your animation sequence will consist of 2 or more slides, each adding a new element to the previous one. First, we're going to create the last slide. Let's take the following sequence from my emoji marketing slide deck as an example. I'll start by creating the last slide marked number 1. Let me walk you through the slide elements just to give you an idea. In the very background, there's an image, followed by a black overlay with 50% opacity. And I do have a tutorial on how to add overlays to your SlideShare presentations as well. Then there is the Traffic Generation Cafe logo with 50% opacity as well. And then text box 1 and text box 2. And by the way, what you've just seen is an animated slide sequence as well, since the video was first created as a slide deck and is now being repurposed as a video right in front of you. Yep, the power of recontent, which is what I like to call content repurposing. The first 4 elements of the slide, including text box 1, will remain unchanged through the sequence. I call them fixed elements. Thus, text box 2 is what I'll be working with to create the animation effect. And by the way, always design the element containing animations as a stand-alone unit. For instance, I could have added all the text in the slide to one text box. However, separating it into 2 boxes, text box 1 with text that will remain fixed throughout the sequence, and text box 2 that will be animated, will make designing the sequence a lot easier. And we'll see this tip at work a bit later. So in text box 2, I chose to break up the text into 3 lines, 1 stat per line. That would give me 4 slides in the sequence. Slide 1 containing only the fixed elements, plus 3 animated slides, each adding 1 line of text at a time. And by the way, make sure every slide element is designed and positioned exactly the way you want it to be before moving on to the next step. And speaking of step 2, it's to duplicate the base slide. Now that the base slide is done, I'll duplicate it, copy it in other words, until I reach the number of slides I need to complete the sequence. Once again, in this example, I'll add 3 more slides to the base one, 4 slides in all. If my sequence consisted of 2 slides, I'd only have to duplicate the slide once. Makes sense, right? And yes, all slides will be identical. To duplicate the slide, click on its thumbnail to the left to highlight it. Then press Ctrl-D in PowerPoint for Windows or Command-D in PowerPoint for Mac. Step 3. Delete animation elements in slide 1. Remember, all slides in the sequence are currently identical, and this is what they will look like in the end. It's now time to start working on slide 1. Slide 1 is my bare minimum slide. It should only include the fixed elements of the sequence. Thus, I will delete text box 2. And this is where breaking down the text into 2 boxes came in handy. Now step 4. Reveal animation elements one by one. Slide 2 will reveal the first line in text box 2. To do that, I'll need to hide the other 2 lines. I'll show you how to do it in a second, but first let me explain. There's a big difference between deleting an element and hiding it when it comes down to creating an animated sequence. If I were to delete the lower 2 lines, thus cutting down the text box to just 1 line, line 1 won't remain in the same spot in the slide, like this. See? PowerPoint will automatically adjust the text box to align with the rest of the elements in the slide, as you just saw. See how the first line changes its position? And that's not at all what I want. I want it to stay put to create the illusion of animation. So I need to hide the lower 2 lines in the text box, not just delete them. You can hide the extra elements by setting their transparency to 100%, or actually changing their opacity to 0, depending on which PowerPoint version you're using, or how you choose to do it. Several paths lead to the same results. The mysteriously unusable PowerPoint UX, isn't it? So the goal is to make highlighted text completely transparent, make it invisible, in other words. So here's how to do it step by step. First, go to Shape Format, then click on Format pane and Text Options. Highlight the text you'd like to hide, and then change transparency from 0% to 100. And voila! Now rinse and repeat with the remaining elements in the sequence. And by the way, have you noticed that this entire video was a compilation of slide animations? If you want ideas on how you can use this awesome PowerPoint trick, just go back and see how many variations you can pick up on Content Boomeranger. And if you're listening to this and don't yet know what Content Boomerang is, you should definitely check it out. You might be pleasantly surprised to learn that the content you create doesn't have to rot in your archives, but could be put to work through content repurposing and continue to bring traffic and leads back to your business. I'm Ana Hoffman, and I'll see you in Content Boomerang.